Elon Musk's garage is a wild mix of futuristic prototypes, iconic classics, straight-up sci-fi vibes, and, of course, some Tesla. Over the years, the Henry Ford of electric cars, as some call him, has owned everything from a McLaren F1 to a Lotus Espirit underwater car. So buckle up. Today, we're taking a trip around Elon Musk's car garage. Number 1. 1978 BMW 320i. Let's kick it off from the ground up. Before the Mars missions, Neuralink dreams, and Twitter takeovers, Elon Musk was just a freshly minted millionaire with a taste for speed, style, and a little bit of drama under the hood when he got his first car, the humble 1978 BMW 320i. Purchased for about $1,400 after he sold his first startup, Zip2. This was classic entry-level success energy. The car reportedly got him from A to B and not much more. It didn't even last long. A friend blew the suspension clean off during a joyride. Still, you've got to respect the modest beginnings of a man who'd later send a car into space. The 1978 BMW 320i was the car that helped cement BMW's rep in America as the go-to brand for drivers who wanted performance, precision, and a little Euro swagger without selling their soul to gas-guzzling V8. It was part of the first-generation BMW 3 Series E21, the car that started it all for what would become BMW's most iconic model line. Under the hood is a 2-liter inline-4 Bosch K-Jetronic fuel-injected engine pushing out 110 horsepower and 115 pound-feet of torque. It goes from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 10.5 seconds, which is quick for its class in the 70s and has a top speed of 112 miles per hour. The exterior is simple, clean, and classy. It features a timeless design with a signature kidney grille, round headlights, and a clean, understated profile. Compact dimensions gave it a sporty look, while the shark nose front end gave it a bit of an attitude with steel wheels and thin bumpers adding to its retro charm. The interior is functional. The cabin is driver-focused with a minimalist dashboard and classic BMW analog gauges. Materials were simple. Cloth or vinyl seats, hard plastics, and not much in the way of luxury by today's standards, but it had what mattered, a tight, purposeful feel that made you want to take the long way home. Number 2. 1997 McLaren F1. Then came the real glow-up. After bagging nearly $22 million from selling Zip2, Elon did what any self-respecting tech mogul would do in the early 2000s. He bought a McLaren F1. Although the choice was either a house in Palo Alto or a McLaren F1, for Musk, the F1 was a no-brainer. One of only 106 ever built, Musk scored chassis 0 number 67 in 1999 for around $1 million for the crown jewel of the 90s supercars. Value today, well, north of $20 million. And that's if you can even find one. Powered by a 6.1-liter naturally aspirated V12 engine from BMW, tuned by Gordon Murray and pushing out 627 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. No turbos, no hybrid gimmicks. Just raw analog violence channeled through a 6-speed manual gearbox. This beast could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.2 seconds and held the title of the world's fastest production car for years, with a top speed of 240.1 miles per hour. But what made the F1 legendary is its design. Flanked by 2 passenger seats, the central driving position made it feel like a road-going fighter jet. It also includes a lightweight carbon fiber monocoque chassis, the first in a production car, and iconic dihedral doors. The body was feather light, made almost entirely of carbon fiber, and featured 24-karat gold-lined engine bays for heat shielding. McLaren gave buyers a custom toolkit crafted by Tag Heuer, and even a bespoke luggage set to maximize storage space. Elon drove it regularly, until he and Peter Thiel famously crashed it en route to a meeting. No insurance, no regrets, just billionaire doings. Number 3. 1967 Jaguar E-Type Series 1. Up next is the 1967 Jaguar E-Type Series 1, a classic British icon. The E-Type was a dream car Musk reportedly desired since childhood. Gifted to himself after making some coin, it's a car Enzo Ferrari once called the most beautiful car ever made. With its long nose, curvaceous body, and a top speed north of 150 miles per hour, this was peak vintage glam. Proof that Elon didn't always think in batteries and bitrate. Powered by a 3.8-liter inline-6 engine pushing out 265 horsepower for the early models and a 4.2-liter inline-6, still 265 horsepower but more torque, it reached 0 to 60 in 6.4 seconds. In the 60s, that wasn't just incredible, it was wild. The exterior is a sculpture on wheels. We are talking long bonnet, covered headlamps, low stance, tapered rear, and smooth uninterrupted body lines. Early Series 1s had glass-covered headlights, which were later removed in late 1967 due to US regulations. Inside, it's classy and colorful. The Jaguar comes with a two-seater cockpit with toggle switches, Smith's gauges, leather trim, bucket seats, a wood-rimmed steering wheel, and a dash that looked like something out of a vintage fighter jet. Tight by modern standards, but full of vintage charm. And from vintage Brit flair to full-blown Bavarian muscle we go. Number 4. Hammond BMW M5. Up next is the Hammond-tuned BMW M5. This wasn't your average executive sleeper sedan. No, sir. This was a custom-modified E60 M5, already a monster in stock form thanks to its 5-liter naturally aspirated V10, churning out 500 horsepower and revving to a spine-tingling 8,250 RPM. That engine, inspired by F1 tech, already made the car a legend. But to leave it to Hammond Motorsport to take things from corporate to completely insane. The Hammond Touch added aggressive bodywork, a wide stance, custom wheels, and a reworked exhaust that turned every throttle tap into a rolling thunderclap. Think flared fenders, deep front splitters, a rear diffuser, and quad pipes that could probably be heard from orbit. Which, knowing Elon, was probably the point. And while performance figures varied by spec, some Hammond M5s reportedly pushed over 600 horsepower, trimming the 0 to 60 miles per hour sprint down to the low 4-second range. Inside, Musk's version was reportedly murdered out. That is, black on black everything, with carbon fiber trim, leather buckets, and just enough tech to remind you it was still a German precision machine, not an Ironman suit. And now, for something a little more family-friendly, but no less sharp. Number 5. Audi Q7. The Audi Q7, the car that inspired the Tesla Model X's Falcon Wing doors. Elon reportedly hated the rear seat access in his Q7 so much that he decided to reinvent SUV ingress entirely. As SUVs go, the Q7 was plush and powerful. Musk reportedly owned an early model Q7, likely from the first generation, when Audi was swinging for the fences in the luxury SUV market. Powering this beast was either a 4.2-liter V8 or the torquey 3-liter TDI V6, depending on the spec. The V8 version put down around 350 horsepower and could move the Q7 from 0 to 60 in 6.7 seconds, which is not bad for something that could haul 7 people, a few dogs, and a satellite prototype. But let's be honest, Elon wasn't buying this thing for lap times. The Q7 was practical. It had room for his growing family, sleek enough not to scream dad car, and tech-heavy enough to suit a man obsessed with the future. Audi's MMI infotainment system, optional adaptive air suspension, and panoramic sunroof made it feel like a luxury spaceship for the suburbs. Now we enter Elon Musk's electric era, where horsepower meets software, and silence on the road still means thunder under the hood. Let's plug into the Teslas that reshape not just his garage, but the entire auto industry. Number 6. 2008 Tesla Roadster. The 2008 Tesla Roadster was the spark, literally. It was the car that marked the beginning of Elon's electric ambitions. Before the Model S became a Silicon Valley driveway staple, before gigafactories sprawled across continents, there was this, a 2-seat Lotus Elise-based all-electric speed machine with attitude. The 2008 Tesla Roadster was Tesla's first production car and the company's proof of concept that EVs didn't have to be sluggish golf cart-adjacent compromises. Powered by a 248 horsepower electric motor in its early versions and posting 0 tailpipe emissions, the Roadster could rocket from 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds, a number that shocked skeptics and sent automakers scrambling for blueprints. Its 245-mile range was equally unheard of at the time. The design is pure Lotus DNA underneath, but with a sharper, tech-forward twist. It was lightweight, low-slung, and aggressive. Inside, it was minimalist but futuristic. Push-button gear selectors, touchscreen controls, and that unmistakable Tesla vibe that would later define the brand. Fun fact, in 2018, Elon Musk strapped his personal Roadster to a SpaceX Falcon Heavy and launched it into orbit, complete with a spacesuit-clad dummy named Starman behind the wheel. Exactly the type of thing you'd expect from a billionaire of his stature. Number 7. Tesla Model S Performance. Coming up at number 7 is the Tesla Model S Performance. The car that took everything the Roadster proved and dialed it up to 11 with 4 doors, a frunk, and face-melting torque. This was the car that redefined what the luxury sedan could be. It was about dominance. The early P85 models were fast, sure, but then came the P100D with ludicrous mode, and that's when things got truly unhinged. We're talking 762 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, and acceleration so instant it felt like being yeeted into another dimension, all in near silence. No growl, no gear shift, just a seamless, mind-bending launch. The exterior was clean, minimalist, almost unassuming if you didn't know better. But the interior? Full-on Starship Enterprise. A 17-inch touchscreen dominated the dash, replacing nearly every physical button. Autopilot features turned heads and stirred debates. And over-the-air software updates meant this car literally got better while it slept. For Musk, the Model S wasn't just a product, but a message. EVs weren't just coming, they were here to take over. CEOs of rival automakers scoffed until their own kids started begging for Teslas. And of course, Elon didn't stop at one. He's had several variants from the original Signature Edition to the plaid beast that can smoke supercars at a drag strip with the whole family on board. Next up is the gull-winged SUV born out of Q7's frustration and Musk's refusal to open the rear doors like a normal person. Number 8. Tesla Model X. The Tesla Model X, born out of his frustration with crawling into the backseat of his Audi Q7, the Model X was Musk's answer to practicality, performance, and flair. Once you lay your eyes on it, you're met with those infamous falcon wing doors hinged like the wings of a robotic bird of prey, lifting skyward in tight spaces with all the subtlety of a spaceship launch. But let's not get carried away with the drama. Underneath this party trick, the Model X is a monster, especially in its plaid trim, which unleashes 1,020 horsepower, does 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, and still has room for 7 passengers and their egos. It's the only family hauler that can humiliate Lamborghinis at stoplights and take your kids to soccer practice right after. Inside, it features a minimalist dash, panoramic windshield that stretches over the front seats like a fighter jet canopy, yoke steering, controversial yes, but very on brand, and of course, the massive touchscreen control center that looks like it could launch satellites. With a range of around 330 miles, top-notch air filtration, and autopilot driving assist, the Model X is everything you could wish for and more. This isn't just an electric SUV, it's an experience, one that costs $86,630. Number 9. Tesla Cybertruck. Now, we will take a trip back to the future with the Tesla Cybertruck. The stainless steel wedge that broke the internet, shattered some windows, and made the world ask, is this thing even real? When Elon Musk unveiled the Cybertruck in 2019, the world didn't know whether to laugh, scream, or pre-order. With its stainless steel exoskeleton origami gone wrong styling, and a literal sledgehammer test on stage that famously backfired, the Cybertruck became an overnight meme, and then a cultural phenomenon. This isn't your average electric pickup, it's a rolling dystopian fever dream. Think Blade Runner meets Baja 1000. The body is made of ultra-hard 30X cold-rolled stainless steel, the same material SpaceX uses on its rockets. Under the hood, this tri-motor all-wheel drive version rockets from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 2.7 seconds, which is faster than most sports cars, let alone trucks. It can tow over 11,000 pounds, has adaptive air suspension, and, get this, rear-wheel steering for tank-like maneuverability. And yes, there's a frunk. Inside, it's all angles and attitude. Minimalist dash, massive center screen, and a stark, almost sci-fi interior that feels more like a bunker on wheels than a pickup. Depending on the spec, the range can top 340 plus miles, so you can disappear into the desert and not be heard from until the next earnings call. Coming up next is the car that flies underwater. Yes, you heard that right. Number 10. Lotus Espirit Wet Nelly. The Lotus Espirit nicknamed Wet Nelly. Remember The Spy Who Loved Me? So does Musk. He bought the actual movie prop submarine car at auction for nearly $1 million. This 1976 Lotus Espirit transformed into a submarine on screen, and Elon was so inspired he reportedly planned to make it a real amphibious vehicle using Tesla tech. No word yet if it drives underwater, but if anyone could make that happen, it's probably the guy sending rockets to Mars on weekdays. Number 11. 1920 Ford Model T. And last, but in no way least, the 1920 Ford Model T. This shows Elon's appreciation for the classics too. It's not flashy, it's not fast, and it sure as hell isn't electric. But the Model T earns a quiet, dignified spot in Elon Musk's collection because it represents the origin story of mass mobility. The Model T wasn't just a car. It was a revolution on 4 skinny wheels, and you can bet Elon, ever the fan of disrupting industries, appreciates what it stood for, making the automobile accessible for everyone. Powered by a 2.9-liter inline-4 engine putting out a massive 20 horsepower, the Model T could reach a top speed of about 45 miles per hour, which in 1920 was basically light speed. It ran on gasoline, ethanol, or kerosene, had no electric starter, and was started with a hand crank. Shifting gears, you had 3 pedals and a lever. Not exactly intuitive. Musk reportedly owns a restored 1920 Model T, a symbolic nod to the original mass-produced car, much like his Model S, 3, X, and Y. Yes, he's spelling sexy, are to the next generation. The Model T's minimalist, bare metal bones, and simplicity reflect the same kind of strip it down to essentials and scale it up thinking that Tesla brought to the EV world. It's not a car Musk would daily drive or shoot into orbit, but it's one he respects. Before Tesla could update over Wi-Fi and beat Lambos off the line, Henry Ford was changing the world with Stampede steel assembly lines and a dream that everyone could afford a car. And now, Musk is trying to do it all over again, just with less crank starting and more autopilot. And there you have it, Elon Musk's garage. Part-time capsule, part science fiction, but all ambition. Which one was your favorite, and whose collection should we do next? Let us know in the comments section, and don't forget to like and subscribe.